At the beginning scene, a crew consisting of astronauts embarks on a journey into space toward Jupiter. The mission's name is Europa 1 mission, which aims at reaching one of the moons of Jupiter named Europa and figuring out if life is possible over there. 19 months have passed, and the astronaut crew has surpassed any previous human travel distance. It is revealed that Europa 1 mission marked the first instance of sending humans into deep space. After that, crew members are introduced one by one, beginning with James, an engineer who sends video recordings to his family documenting the trip. Captain William Shu discusses the possibility of finding life on Europa, followed by Andrei, the Russian chief engineer. Katya, one of the scientists, is also there on the ship. Rosa, the pilot, checks data and communicates with mission control on Earth regarding incoming radiation, seeking assistance from Daniel, the chief engineer. Eventually, it is disclosed that the footage which was just shown was the final recordings from the crew members. After these recordings were sent to Earth, communication with the crew was lost, indicating a malfunction in the ship. The scene shifts to the ship in space, where crew members are hopeless after James's unfortunate demise. With their communication system damaged, they are unable to inform their family or mission control. The crew's morale takes a significant hit, as they are depressed and keep questioning their decisions if they are right. Andrei, in particular, becomes increasingly detached from the rest of the crew because he was the last person with James. The story then transitions 19 months earlier to the initial stages of the mission when everyone is cheerful and happy about the adventure ahead. James is shown with his charisma, making the atmosphere entertaining. The crew members spend time together, engaging in meals, work, exercise, and humor. Cut to the present time, where Captain William and Daniel are planning to descend onto Europa. However, they are not sure if they should leave Andrei alone on the main ship. Due to Andrei's mental instability, they decide it is best for all of them to go together to the surface of Europa. Eventually, they begin their journey toward the moon, which initially proceeds smoothly. However, as they approach the surface, they encounter powerful hydrothermal vents that push the ship 100 meters away from their intended landing site. Upon reaching the surface of Europa, covered with ice, they are captivated by its beauty and marvel at the incredible achievement of their journey. However, they soon discover that due to their altered landing location, they are unable to obtain accurate data from the surface. As a result, they make a different plan to obtain the necessary information. The way their plan will work is that they must start digging beneath Europa's ice to directly access the water and retrieve the necessary information which might prove the existence of life here. They eventually begin drilling to collect the samples. At night, while waiting for the drilling to complete, Andrei sees through the exterior window and catches a glimpse of a fleeting flashing orb of light which vanishes suddenly. He promptly informs the team about his sighting, and the team listens to him. They then search the cameras for evidence and notice a radiation interference at the same time when Andrei observes the flashing orb of light. Simultaneously, they doubt Andrei's vision, whether he genuinely saw something or if he is behaving like this due to his mental instability. In the morning, the drilling operation finally concludes, and they activate the drone to explore beneath the ice. Initially, they are amazed by the view, but their emotions swiftly shift as they encounter intense radiation emerging not from the surface, but from beneath the ice. This perplexes the team, and they direct the drone's gaze downwards, deep into the ice, and spot a small flashing light. Eager to investigate further, they pursue it, only to be startled by an even brighter light, causing them to lose control of the drone, and it gets lost. With the drone now lost, they are left with no means to obtain the crucial data they need, once again as hopeless as they initially were. Katya suggests going back to the original site, which is a mere 100 meters away, to collect samples manually. However, the other crew members disagree and express their concern about the dangerous radiation outside, which is extremely harmful to the human body. Disagreements and conflicts resurface among the crew members as they keep debating this issue. The scene shifts to a few months prior to James's death, exactly when the communication with the mission control was lost due to a solar flare. James and Andrei decide to wear their spacesuits and venture outside the ship to assess the damage. As they reach the communication panel to see the damage, they discover that it is completely demolished. They attempt to remove the panel's pins and see if they can repair it. However, the last pin proves stubbornly frozen. William, who is watching them from inside, advises them to leave the panel as it is and immediately come inside the ship, but Andre insists on opening the panel. James hesitates, but Andre is resolute, urging them to force it and revive their communication with the control crew on Earth. As they begin the process of removing the pins and repairing the panel, Andre is abruptly pushed away by the panel, which tears his suit and causes a rapid loss of oxygen. James rushes to his aid, guiding him back towards the ship, while Andre's oxygen supply diminishes gradually. As they reach the ship's entrance, Andre asks James not to enter, as he carries hydrazine on his suit from outside, and if he enters with the suit, it would result in contaminating the ship's air and make it toxic. With no means of decontamination, the crew finds themselves in a state of uncertainty and unsure of what course of action to take. Andre suggests that he will remove James from his suit and bring him into the ship. However, Andre loses consciousness due to the lack of oxygen. In a selfless act, James chooses to push Andre into the ship, saving his life. As he pushes Andre inside, the crew seals the airlock, leaving James outside. Unfortunately, James becomes disconnected from the cable holding him to the ship and starts drifting away, realizing his impending death. Despite the fact that his death is seconds away, he continues to communicate with the team, assuring them that his death was an accident and not their fault. He pleads with them to convey his love to his son and let him know that he believed he was undertaking a meaningful journey for humanity. Following that heart-wrenching moment, the team loses contact with James. After some time, Andre awakens from his unconscious state, realizing that James died because of him. Overwhelmed by grief, he breaks down in tears, expressing his anger in himself through cries and shouts. Once again, the scene shifts to the present moment, where the crew discusses the proposal for Katya to venture outside the ship and manually collect the necessary samples. According to this plan, Katya will go to the original landing place and collect samples. As it takes so long to decide on the final plan, they decide to vote. Eventually, William and Andre express their opposition to this plan, while Katya and Daniel are in favor of the plan's implementation. Rosa, the final voter, remains uncertain about the correct course of action, but then sides with the idea of Katya manually collecting the samples. Katya proceeds to suit up and leaves the ship, stepping onto the surface of Europa. She is once again captivated by the amazing view and the realization that she is the first human to set foot on this moon. She then makes her way to the original landing site and begins collecting samples. Initially, Katya and the crew members from the ship struggle to find anything significant. However, with the last sample, they finally discover evidence of life. They are surprised to see a unicellular organism resembling algae. This astonishing revelation fills the entire crew with wonder and hope. Now the crew instructs Katya to return to the ship as it's been 70 minutes outside. However, she notices a distant light and decides to investigate further, quite contrary to the crew's instructions. Drawing closer to the light source, she turns off her own lights to observe its reaction. She moves further and further to see if it is the same thing that Andre saw and told everyone earlier. The crew warns her about escalating radiation levels with the further distance being covered, but Katya keeps moving forward. Suddenly, she witnesses that the light is moving beneath the ice. She panics due to the unstable nature of the ice, and after a few seconds, communication with Katya is abruptly lost. The crew watches her position on the monitor and quickly realizes that she is descending deeper and deeper under the ice as if something is pulling her, leading them to the devastating realization that she is gone. Once again, the crew's morale diminishes with hopelessness, and they decide that they should leave as quickly as possible. They initiate the launch, but unfortunately, the ship encounters complications due to the hydrothermal vents on the moon, causing the crew to lose control of the ship. With the ship on the verge of crashing, William unfastens his seatbelt to release the radiation shielding. Radiation shielding might protect the ship by slowing down its speed and decreasing the damage when it hits the surface. However, upon the ship's impact with the ground, William is violently thrown across the ship because of no seatbelt, and he instantly loses his life. After some time, the remaining crew awakens, realizing that William sacrificed himself to save them. Fortunately, they discover that the ship has crashed precisely at the originally intended landing site. However, the crash has resulted in a loss of oxygen and heat from the ship, causing a sense of despair for Daniel, who believes their survival chances are very low. As the ice beneath the ship begins to crack, signifying a terrible breakage that would send the ship into the depths, Andrei remains determined to find a solution for their near-to-death situation. He is confident that he can save them from their dire circumstances and suggests repairing the ship with Daniel. His plan requires Andrei and Daniel to venture outside the ship, while Rosa assists them from inside. Before they leave, Rosa begins recording a detailed account of the events, ensuring that humanity will learn of their struggle in case they don't survive. Andrei and Daniel then venture onto the ice, encountering dangerously high levels of radiation. However, as Daniel takes his first step, the ice instantly shatters, causing him to disappear from their sight. With one more life lost, Andrei informs Rosa that without Daniel, there is no longer a way to repair the ship. Andrei insists that they can still accomplish one final task: fixing the communication system. However, as they have already seen how James died while fixing the communication panel, this time Andrei can die too. Nonetheless, Andrei moves forward to fix the panel, knowing that this choice would ultimately seal his fate. However, it will ensure that Earth discovers the truth of their struggle after the communication is revived. Rosa agrees and begins preparing the data for transmission back to Earth while Andrei fixes the panel. Andrei confronts the hazardous radiation levels and encounters multiple surrounding lights. Despite the dangers, he manages to reach the communication panel and successfully repairs it. Unfortunately, he is instantly pulled beneath the ice as well as losing his life. Rosa, now the sole survivor, completes the preparations for transmitting the data just as the ship begins to sink into Europa's ocean. Embracing the inevitability of her fate, she opens the ship's hatch, allowing the water to flow inside. As water floods the ship, Rosa witnesses something huge with a glowing light entering the ship, the same creature stalking them. This creature was initially seen by Andrei, and then it took Katya's life when she didn't follow the crew's instructions. The creature swiftly approaches Rosa, killing her, providing a clear view of its form captured by the camera. The scene shifts to Earth, where the CEO of Europa Ventures, Dr. Unger, explains that they have received all the footage depicting the crew and the events that unfolded on Europa. They recognize the bravery of the astronauts who, until their last breath, chose to disclose the hidden mysteries of Europa's oceans to Earth, even if it meant sacrificing their lives.